Hey everybody, the Reeswirl here, and welcome back to more of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Fingers crossed, this is the final session. That's what I'm hoping. Either way, let's go. Okay, my audio's fine. I didn't know if I turned it down or not. Good morning. Oh, are you by yourself? Ah, morning, pals. Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mr. Maya? God, I'm really bad at reading. I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple. Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall? No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court. Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit it's kinda strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Goddo! Oh, never mind. Edgeworth! What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Oh, so I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Goddo? Goddo. Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cabin. The Sacred Cabin? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She's been out there all night, trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly as we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Goddo intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. Mostly because there is. No tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. I know. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden frantic maniac you were yesterday. It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold onto someone else. Literally. And with that, I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Hey, thanks. I mean, technically they are partners in this case. I mean, Edgeworth handled the first half. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise... no, I mean Misty Faye. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. Isn't it obvious? To make Pearl the next master. It's quite obvious. Well, at least I think it is. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Okay. Hey, look who it is. Ah! Awesome. The regular judge is back. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris at Hazakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother. He looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Oh my god, we're back to this. It's impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Goddo. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Goddo, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There is only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bit of darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. I had a feeling he was going to bring that back to coffee. So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant? He's like, what are you planning? Iris. Why didn't you discuss this with me first? Yeah, it's a bit weird. Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession. Oh god. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple. Witness, is there something that you want to confess to? Yes. But first I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore. It's alright, what is it? Mr. Wright, I have to admit that Oh, I did play a part in this terrible incident. Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise? Whatever her name is. No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up. After the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise. And carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it. What? Ah. Oh dear. Order in the court. Order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder? Yes, that's correct. Oh no. 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Huh. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite? Grr, that goddo. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Oh no! Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone? No, I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle, or a life jacket. I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Karain tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family. I'm sorry, but main family? Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Karain channeling technique. Mystic Maya Fey. Huh? I'm confused too. So wake up and smell the coffee, Trite. She's naming... Maya? Are they trying to get Maya pinned for this again? Well, like, when I say again, I mean because she's been in so many crimes where she's been pegged as the murderer. There was case 2 of the first game, case 2 of the second game, and then this one. Oh dear. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer. I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. Then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her. That's ridiculous. Maya could never do such a... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime? Yes, Your Honor. I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The real murderer. Pardon me. I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense, you can't blame her for it. So they're trying to say that Maya killed Mystic Elise. So it was in self-defense. Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya. You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Is that right? Or isn't that right? Not bad. You got the instincts of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was... that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. Alright. Well, we're back to normal, where it's Phoenix versus Goddo. Hold it! Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that, on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple. Did she now? Too bad for you, what she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go? It was... wait. It was in the inner temple's training hall? A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. What do you have to say, witness? I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? I don't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder. There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden? Well, Your Honor, I love how they have it so it leads into the next statement. It's pretty good. Wait, so you're saying that the victim attacked Maya, I mean Miss Faye? Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse. What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting? I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak, I was in such shock. That's perfectly understandable, my dear. Oh my god. This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute. What happened after that? While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Ow. So she moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon. Okay. Wait a minute. What was this weapon? It was some kind of dagger. A dagger, huh? And Mystic Elise tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye? Yes, exactly. Huh. Okay, why would she do that when she had a staff that was a weapon? Yeah, like, it makes no sense. You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. You have a problem with the testimony you're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? There is one thing. Why did she have two weapons? Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless. That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony. Yes, sir. Hey, wait just a moment. It's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. What is the judge supposed... What's he here for, then? Okay, now. Let's continue. So, she threw her staff away and pulled the dagger from inside her robe. I object to that wholeheartedly. Why would she do that when she had this? Has a sword hidden inside. No one knows this except Detective Gumshoe and I. Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events. Huh? Miss Elise throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me. But all you can do with a staff is hit someone. Oh, no, my dear. Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but... the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. Ah. If Mystic Elise really had wanted to kill Maya Faye, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? Of course he has a smile on his face. That was an impressive bit of investigating, Wright. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective at close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Oh well. Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor, the defense will now present evidence to back its argument. But Mr. Wright, I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Oh, there we go. Real name Misty Fey, Maya's mother. He's like, yes, this is the victim, yes. So Miss Elise would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise, whatever the hell that is. Her real name was Misty Fey. Fey? Ah, no. Not Mystic Misty Fey. Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to? Misty Fey is the master of the Quran channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey. Are you serious? Is it really true? Mr. Wright? Was Miss Elise actually the great Misty? God, seeing Mystic and Misty next to each other just throws me off. There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea. I can hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Oh, nice. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented... Oh, right, itchy ear. Okay, so 1, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight. And 2, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter. Despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. Except for one little thing. Yes, what is this one little impossible thing? Huh, you still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted? But you have no idea, Gramps. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be a bloodstain. Oh. So where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Huh? The pine tree? This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Huh. Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Wait, I thought it was his 8th. Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago? I didn't have enough time to get the blood analysed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. So bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Dagger added to the court record. Dagger disappeared from the court record. Now then, I need to readjust my mic. There we go. The testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. Cute girls never lie. Ever. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court. About what, Your Honour? About the incident you saw. The battle between the two women. Yes, Your Honour. So, the battle. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly Mystic Elise was... Oh! Really? Was on the was the one on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. Ooh, censored. Well, I already know what I need to present to this. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed. That was a very heartbreaking story. I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore. That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. Oh, you got it. That's easy enough. I mean, this is probably one of the easiest ones to debunk. I don't need to press on anything either. She dodged, blah blah blah. Mystic Elise was on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. That's when she stabbed. Actually, yeah, on this picture, it's not possible. Where's the autopsy report? Here it is. Yeah, stab in the back. I wins. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contained quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Face stabbed the victim who had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yeah, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. Ah! This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. You bloody fool, what the hell do you think you're doing? Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. Ah! So, what is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Huh, it's simple. People are like bucks. We've all got a front and a back, you get my drift? Is that all you have to say? I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, and people fighting being mother and daughter, or the people fighting being mother and daughter. And now, she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? I hate how long his animation takes, but I love it all the same. There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor Gatto, explain yourself. The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. By the way, did you know? The Inner Temple has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is there training, the stone lantern in the garden is to always be lit. I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see more clearly? Or see the crime more clearly? Normally yes, Your Honour. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. Most enlightening. Ooh. Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite? Order, order, order! Here, Your Honour. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Okay. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honour? Was that flame too hot? This lantern. There's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood. Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood? It says Maya upside down. What the? Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body. That's how it was written upside down. Okay, that makes sense. It certainly looks that way. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. Can he not see red? Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. He can't see blood. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Gatto, anything further? Mr. Gatto? Okay then, let's move on. What? Gatto is literally shaking, and somehow, I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Elise was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong. Now it's time to turn our attention to you. Yes, sir. After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Gulp. Let's hear it. We're all ears. So, Sister Iris's cover-up. After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Karine tradition. So I removed the body from the Inner Temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and... I used the Shitishito to alter the way the wound looked. Oh my god, that's still gross. Boy. So, you moved the body? Yes. I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fake Man. But even so, I never imagined that Elise, or Mystic Elise, was actually Misty Faye. I've committed a terrible sin. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor. I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. But you were spotted by the head nun, correct? Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back. Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. You got it, Judgey. Yes, Your Honor. Right, it's time to press everything. Woohoo! So, Sister Iris's cover-up. Wait, can I object? Hold it. Oh my god, the way it was, like, delayed. I can't believe it worked. So you waited until everything was over before making a move? No, it's not like that. God, oh, screw you with your objections. She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid. Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument? It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I really want to just say hold it for all of these. Hold it. Nah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, whatever. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Shit. Oh, I'm getting all kind of confused. So then, you knew? You knew the significance of the name Maya Fey? Yes. Of course I did. That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position. Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. Why did you do that? Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene. You moved her body all by yourself? Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow. The snow, huh? Dragged it behind all the way across Dusky Bridge. It's pretty amazing you could make it all the way across that rickety old bridge. It looks worse than it is, and it's surprisingly sturdy despite its age. It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. But there's one other thing that bothers me. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple. I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible. Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge? I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple, and... The snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later. Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge. This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? I should. About the tracks. If you really did move the body, or her body, by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Oh yes, naturally you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride? Yes, I think they are. But I can only see one set of tracks here. I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple. I see, snow was still falling, huh? And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks. How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? It's very important. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. No, I'm pretty sure this... No, it hadn't. Snow was still falling. I think, hang on. It was between 11 and 10 PM. Where's the weather report? 11 and 10. Between 11 and 10. Snow to 10:50. So it was not. If the murder had taken place at 10:30, or whatever, it would have still been snowing slightly. But yeah, I would say it's very important. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Exactly. Your Honor, I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. But does it have something to do with the case? All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record. This should be fun. You, let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we? Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. So I'm just trying to... oh wait, that's... oops. I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Oh. Ta-da! I dragged it behind me all the way across the dusky bridge. Wait a minute, what, does she ever stay at the time? Oh wait, it was when the murder took place. 10:45? If the snow had stopped, then it would have been after 10:50, right? Which means the bridge would have been on fire. That's all I can think. You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible. What? This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time, because of the lightning. Why do you say that? Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire. What did you say? The bridge, it was on fire? You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down. What? But it can't be. How does she not know that? It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney. How did she not know that the bridge was... I said busted. Burnt? That's so weird. Because it was a pretty obvious thing. Order, order, order. The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way she could have crossed the bridge, body or no body. Witness, even my patience has its limits. Any further lying, I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Objection! Weird. The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man. Me? How dare you? Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right? Yes, of course, but... whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not. There are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Miss Elise was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Miss Elise's body. These are true. He makes a good point on both accounts. That's right. I'm not lying. What are you claiming this time? I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy. You've stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? Oh, and now she's telling us. It's only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court. What is it? When the murder happened, the bridges had already burnt down. but somehow the body travelled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick. Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burnt-out bridge, but unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. See what I mean? In other words... Shut up! You're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Back! Egad! I mean, he does make a good point, I suppose. Alright then, witness, let's hear your testimony once more. About what, Your Honour? Ugh, you've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony. Woo! Yes, Your Honour. Will this be her final testimony? Oh, my god. Alright. Of them walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess. Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge? I don't know. I mean, we have Larry's sketch, but... don't really mean out. So it was just a misunderstanding, I see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident. Oh, damn. It certainly was burnt to a crisp. One of the suspension wires is gone. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall. So clearly it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth. And Maya will be accused of murder. Again! I'm only going to say this one more time. It is only human to err. And only humans can spot the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. That's Godo! Alright, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination. Right, so moving the body. I mean, my only idea would be the sketch, because that depicted exactly what happened. I like how it says, horrible sketch. And you see a body at the top, so I'm not entirely sure. A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility. What? Huh. You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. Oh god. Preposterous. Who is it? Who is this witness? I can't chicken out here. I've got to keep on the attack and go, go, go. So Miss Elise's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Laurice. Brilliant, highly gifted apprentice? Remember what he said in his first testimony? Or in his testimony? That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today is not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Uh-oh, the judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Huh. Well, Trite, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm going to prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. if you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with the sketch? Upside down? Wait, no. Did they throw the body off the side? If it is upside down. No, it can't have been. That's an oddly specific thing to say, though. I just thought, when he said upside down, I was like, what if I analysed anything from, like, upside down? Alright then, let's hear the defence's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix, look carefully and think it over. The sketch drawn by Loris is evidence of nothing, exactly what happened. A complete contradiction. Something is obviously funny about this sketch. I'm no art critic, but even I can see that. No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Loris stated it over and over, that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it. It contradicts reality? Huh. This is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again. Wait, okay. Wait, okay, right, so what exactly contradicts reality as we know it? Which part of it? The flying part, of course. I'm not actually doing this as the serious one. This flying figure, naturally. After all, people haven't learned to fly yet, or did I miss something? Mr. Wright, that answer just now, it was lethal. No! After dragging us all the way to this point, that answer was embarrassing. So embarrassing, I'm actually blushing. Blushing only suits women, not the elderly. Anyway, what now? That was worth it. Point to something else. One more chance! Flip things around and get them straight in again in my head. Do you know what you're saying this time? State it over and over that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. There we go. Oh crap, no! Oh no! I'm not entirely sure if this is where I want it to be. Oh. I might get another penalty for this because I pressed the wrong thing. I mean, I could try this. Wait! That is upside down! I don't know if this will count though. This is wire connected to the bridge. The wire? Huh. Is that the thing that contradicts reality? It is indeed. Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality. Oh, okay. No, I wanted to present the flying figure because I knew it was going to be something stupid, so it made sense. Check. Yeah, there we go. It's one of the wires from underneath, I think. Maybe. It's what it looks like, but it's far too straight. That's the only issue. Boo-doo. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes, now, compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge... Jump in Jehoshaphat! The wires are... below the guard wires. What? Oh man. Bam bam bum 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 bum. Order, order, order. The sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong? Or perhaps he just drew it wrong? Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. But no. With someone like Loris, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question. Why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Loris was doing when he witnessed this event. He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never gonna come. He waited and finally he laid down. He looked at it from upside down, but then lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. There. Now ponder what sort of position Larry must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back? I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honor. That is the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down. Ah! No way. Wright witnessed the event while he was lying on his back, face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. So then, this sketch should actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Wright's sketch is like this. Flippity flip. Ah, so they did throw the body off. This is how it should actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge, it was actually swinging below. That's right, just like a pendulum. Swinging! Oh! Of all the things to say, a pendulum? I know exactly what it could mean, although I just want to point it out, because I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be the thing, but one thing I noticed when I first saw this picture was that massive rope. Like, right in the middle. If they had taken that and just wrapped it around the body and threw it, would that have done it? Would that have been able to make it all the way to the other side? That's my only issue, as I don't think it would have reached. So the bridge was burning to a crisp, there was no way to get across it. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds about right. In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you'd need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead. The lightning strike that night can only have... No, that night can only have been an accident, so it doesn't make sense that the criminals would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then the criminal... They didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of the criminal. What? I'm saying that it was a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What makes you think the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum? And the meaning of this is, if you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. Ah! This is one of the wires from the bridge. When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Elise's body. Oh! Would that have made it? Because there was simply no other way to move the body. I'm waiting to hear the sip. Huh. Oh! He's doing his speed drink. Alright. Mr. Gatto? He's still going. Seems that Mr. Gatto is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available were very high. So I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all. Oh, I finished drinking. There's still more coffee! Possible or impossible, that's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Trite, I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum? Oh! It was found in the snow! Oh my god, there was also a body fell 10 feet after death. Okay, I would say that. They did say 10 yards. Is a yard a foot? Who knows? Whatever. Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Looking at the map... okay, right, yeah, I'm seeing it now. We can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then, that was the spot where the criminal... Yes, precisely. Now let's consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here... it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point. Did you say drop? Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What? What makes you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance. What kind of evidence? Only an autopsy report. Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet, huh? That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to the forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose. That's... yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal. It's the one that came off of Miss Elise's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal sphere was found. Indeed. I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. The crystal was found... ah! Precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive if given the right amount of speed. This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with a way the body could have been moved that night. What the hell was that noise? I heard like a slap. Impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Oh! That's what the noise was. Oh my god, that was great. I heard a slap. I thought it was from Iris, but that's better. I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot? That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Wright. But you forgot about one thing. Oh, and what would that be? The aroma. Huh? A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma. The rest of the court doesn't speak coffeenese. Can you elaborate a bit more? If the criminal had sent the body to the other side like you say, then naturally, there must have been an accomplice laying in wait to catch it. An accomplice? The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. So who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Wright? Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do. Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice. Very well then, if you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side? Oh yeah, of course, the person that was at Hazakura Temple. It can only be you, Sister Iris. Huh? But I don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it. Try, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the inner temple garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath. I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godot? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, The defendant was in two different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what? The pendulum, of course. Using this sketch drawn as by an eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known. No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum. But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with. What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple? Are you serious, Trite? You mean... this woman is... There's no one besides Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach during this trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. The woman that's standing there at the witness stand. Her real name is... What? Her name is... Who? Her name is... Dahlia. Fucking Hawthorne. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again. Let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her. Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. Ha, it's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. Doodle-doodle-doo. Oh yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago. My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine. No, the honor is all mine. Yeah, how could he forget? But, according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. The set of execution was carried out last month. Diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-doo. So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom. Whoa, okay. Interesting. So order, order, order. Wait a moment. How can you... My sister, she's already dead. What kind of... You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the Karine channeling technique flows within that body. Karine channeling technique. Now where have I heard that? That's right, you're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone? On the very night of the murder, to a temple where her twin sister Iris was? Well, if you're gonna put things that way, then yes. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens? Oh my god, going back and forth. Objection! Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions. Ah, what's that? These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura Temple. 2 of them? Even the time when the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 PM. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you even know what you're saying, Trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business? Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? How can you be so sure? Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later that the body was moved by pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hasakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yeah, I suppose. I can't deny any of that. Whew, thank goodness. Looks like he's finally convinced. But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night. Huh. I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Of course, it's Phoenix. Like the real Iris in the spirit of Dahlia. Somehow I think they did. I mean, it was definitely possible. Switch places. Switch places? Edgeworth passed out from an earthquake, and he was alone with Iris. To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hasakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? There was one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh? Explain yourself. Yesterday for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry, I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris the chance to freely move about was Edgeworth. This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake? Oh god, there was for us. Ah! Earthquake! Oh my goodness. The inner temple. This kind of tremor might... And there we go. How could I have... She fled. She escaped. She went to the inner... Oh, we went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling and... Be quiet. Oh! Oh my god, it is her. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge. Holy shit. That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. Oh god, her theme's back. Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession? Permanently retired. Huh. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. Oh dear! Oh, that's so weird looking! There's really nothing you can do to punish me. What is going on here? Oh, I don't like how her face looked. Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again, and I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her and for myself. Damn. Oh gosh. Jeez, it's been an hour, and that was just the first part. Oh no. I'm starting to worry that I did what I did. Or that I decided to do this. Slightly bad. It's because it's been an hour and 10 minutes, and I'm like, I'm only a third of the way through this, and I've still got the second day, or second trial part, then the third trial part, and then the game ends. And I know when the game ends, there'll be more stuff to go through, but yeah, whatever. I'm completing the game. I don't care. Like, I want to, so I'm going to. Right, okay. Now then, let's continue where we left off, shall we? Well, witness? Yes, how can I help you, Mr. Judge? Well, it seems that if we're to learn the truth, we'll need to hear your testimony. I have no problem with that. But when you've seen what I have, sometimes the truth is better left unknown. That fucking face you make is gross. In any case, let's hear your testimony. Tell us about the plan that was carried out that night. So the plan. The whole plan began with my death. A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay to install her own daughter as the next master. But for it to work, Maya Fay would first have to die. The idea was for me to kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris. The plan went wrong, but it seems to have succeeded anyway. So that means you really are... Wait a minute. Did you just say the plan was to kill Maya Fay? Yes. You have a problem with that? Don't give us that nonsense. There's no way that... Watch yourself, Trite. If you've got a problem, solve it during cross-examination. That's my rule. Mr. Gatto is correct. And by the way, that's my rule as well. To kill Maya. Could it be true? I would probably say so. They've been wanting to get rid of Maya for a long time. I mean, they tried to get rid of her to begin with, by just putting her away for a really long time. So the plan. The whole plan began with my death. So you were executed last month, correct? Yes, I was hanged. Isn't it hung? Yeah, whatever. It wasn't exactly pleasant. How did you manage to discuss the plan? When did you talk with Morgan Fay? Last year, she was transferred to the same detention center as me. Since I was on death row and she was my mother, it was actually pretty easy to meet with her. I see. So that's when you discussed the plan. Huh. Are you crazy? At first, that one was planning to kill me as well. Even though I'm her own daughter. All to make Pearl Fay the Master of Karine. She's a cold, twisted woman. She thought she could finally regain her lost honor. The honor she lost when her younger sister, Misty, took her place as the Master. Ever since that day, she's been working on this plan. A plan, huh? A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay. Yeah. It makes sense as to why Dahlia is such an evil bitch, though. If Morgan's her mother. Sheesh. You're talking about Pearl Fay, is that correct? Although Pearl's, like, pretty nice. Seemingly. Yeah, so at first, she had high hopes for the two of us. You and your twin sister Iris. That's correct. Fortunately, neither of us had much spiritual power. That's why we were abandoned by her, along with our father. Abandoned? Wait a minute. We've not heard it this way. The only person I ever cared, or really cared about in life was myself. My sister was a nuisance, so I convinced my father to leave her at an old temple. You mean Iris? Yes, my father remarried a woman who also had a daughter. The less children you have, the more money there is to go around, right? And on top of that, my father had absolutely no interest in children in general. Jesus. How horrible. The real horrible one was that woman. That bitter, vengeful woman. It was her stubbornness that gave birth to that child. Pearl Fay. She was born with an abundance of spiritual power, unfortunately for her. Morgan Fay heaped all of her broken hopes and dreams onto that poor child's back. All because of her pathetic dreams of having her bloodline become the main family. Ah, face. Maya Fay would have to die. Maya would have to die, but why? For our bloodline to succeed as the main family, thus making Pearl the new master. The remaining descendants of the current master had to be taken care of. But Pearls would never agree to a plan like that. She adores Maya. How sad. You still don't get it, do you? What Pearl wanted had nothing to do with it. Morgan didn't care one bit about Pearl. The only thing she cared about was the position of the Master. That's all. Wow. That's ridiculous. She was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve her goal. The life of her daughter, and naturally, the life of Maya Fey as well. How could anyone do that? Kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris. So you were going to kill Maya? Pearl didn't need to know anything about it. All she had to do was follow the instructions in the letter and channel me. Then I would have simply used her body and finished the job. In any case, I'm already dead, so there's nothing any of you can do to me. Oh dear. So the plan was to blame the crime on your younger sister. On Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. She and I look absolutely identical. No one can tell us apart. If someone were to witness me killing Maya, naturally they would think it was Iris that had done it. And the witness in this case was the head nun, Sister Bikini. I never would have guessed she was going to return to Hazakura Temple that night. But she wound up seeing Iris' crime anyway. But why did you want to pin the murder on Iris in the first place? She's your twin sister, isn't she? Twin sister? Don't make me laugh. She's nothing but a backstabber. I couldn't care less about her. Backstabber? You just don't understand. You never will. Anyway, okay. Yeah, the plan went wrong, seems to have succeeded anyway. So you think the plan was a success? You heard me. Just as that woman had hoped. Maya Fey is dead. Now the title of the Master will pass on to Pearl Fey. Maya ain't dead. That's absurd. Maya is just... she's just trapped inside the Sacred Cavern. I mean, unfortunately, because I know there are more games in the series, I know Maya's not dead. I don't know if I'm pretty sure she shows up in Spirit of Justice, but I don't know about Dual Destinies. But I know she shows up in those, so I know she ain't dead. Unfortunately, otherwise that would be a really... Oh damn. You're as foolish... I hate you. As foolishly optimistic as ever, aren't you, my darling Feeny? Do you want to know the truth? Ever since we met, I've despised you. Yes. Wow. Snivelling naivete, and your pathetic faith in other people. I just want to know one thing. What did you personally think of Morgan Fey's plan? I told you already, didn't I? It was a stupid plan. It had no point, no value other than fulfilling her own greedy desires. Yes, it was certainly nothing to be proud of. If that's how you feel, why did you help her carry it out? Why would you do it? Why would you kill Maya? You may not understand it. Being the kind and gentle soul that you are, you may not be able to appreciate why someone like me would help a woman like that. Then tell me, why? Isn't it obvious? I'm not like that woman. I only act in my own self-interest. The reason I helped her was... for myself. For my own personal satisfaction. What did you say? So this woman, Dahlia Hawthorne, she had her own reason for wanting Maya dead? You understand why I would kill Maya Fey now? What my goal was? I do. I mean, it's fairly obvious. There. She did say, when she was put away in the first trial, she basically held a grudge. I don't know if she actually said, I will get you for this or something, but whatever. Either way. Yeah, they have kind of like a conflict going on. I mean, they met twice. In Case 1 and Case 4, so... could it be that your actual goal had nothing to do with Maya Fey herself? Oh, wait, I understand. She probably wanted to get revenge on Mia and kill Mia, but because Mia's already dead, she can't necessarily get back at Mia. As I said, none of you have the power to punish me anymore, because I'm already dead. Well, I had the same problem, you see. You can't punish the dead, there we go. And you can't take revenge against them either. You wanted to take revenge on someone? I was sentenced to die because of that woman. Mia Fey. I somehow knew this was it. I wanted to send her a message. It was at her hands that I suffered my first humiliation. I I wanted her to feel the same pain she made me feel. Sadly, when I realised revenge was impossible, I gave up. And the reason it was impossible? Was it perhaps because Mia Fey had already died? Yes, and I realised. There's only one way to take revenge against the dead. And how do you do that? Even when the body dies, the spirit, the ego, it lives on forever. I wanted to take away the person that Mia Fey loved most. I wanted to kill her with my own hands. That would be the one and only way I could take my revenge against Mia Fey. That was the reason I helped out with that woman's plans. Just for that? For that you would kill Maya? Your goal was no different than that of Morgan Fey. Ooh, boy. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What a cruel plan. Cruel, cold, and heartless. Don't waste your time preaching to the dead. I've already told you, there's not a thing you can do to me. That night, about 9:30 PM, I materialised into this world. I quickly pinned my hair up, and put on a demon warding hood. Then I picked up the staff that was by my side and left Hazakura Temple. So... it was Elise who channeled her after all. That ridiculous head nun never noticed a thing. Hey, look at her face go. She left Maya Fey at the inner temple, and wobbled back clutching her pearl-rolled back. What did you do then? That kid was way easier to handle than I had hoped. I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. Then I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and... What? So then you're saying you stabbed Maya? It's strange, but I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that. What does that mean? No clear memory? I don't know. I think I was stabbed. You were stabbed. At the last minute. Maya Fey must have stabbed me, I'm sure of it. That's not like her at all. Maya wouldn't stab a French fry with a plastic fork. Anyway, I suddenly lost consciousness. But before I did, I scrawled her name onto the lantern. Just as I was passing out, I wrote Maya behind my back. I had hoped it would cast suspicion on her. I can't believe she was thinking of that until the bitter end. That's when my memory temporarily stops. It stops? I don't have any memory of actually killing Maya Fey with my own two hands. My very last memory was... Maya's terror-filled eyes. When I woke up after that, I was in the sacred cavern surrounded by darkness. You were in the sacred cavern? The entrance was sealed with one of those trick locks. Somehow I had been trapped in there. But how did you wind up in there? I'd like to know that myself. Anyway, I was worried. I didn't know whether or not Maya Fey was dead. And I swore I wouldn't return to the underworld until I knew I had killed her myself. For a ghost, you're one tough cookie. I wanted to get out of there and make sure she was dead. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out. The trick lock stopped you. Huh. I didn't know how to remove it. So then you're saying you were actually confined against your will inside the sacred cavern? Yes. I wanted to get rid of that annoying lock as soon as possible. But it wasn't easy. I kept getting interrupted while I was working on it. Interrupted? It was early in the morning, but someone came into the training hall. What? Who? Could it have been... Maya? I thought the same thing, but I couldn't see. Why not? If someone had spotted me, I would have lost my chance to take revenge. So I made sure to hide myself well at the back of the sacred cavern. That morning, only two people could have gone into the training hall. Maya and... Pearls. Pearls went there to cover the hanging scroll in gravy. Still, I finally managed to remove the lock. But I was too late. What do you mean by that? The flies had already started to gather. Oh, I see. The bridge had been fixed, and the police had started their investigation, correct? Naturally, I couldn't go out. So instead, I returned to the cavern and put the lock back on myself. I realised I wouldn't get a chance to see Maya's corpse, as I had hoped. But just then, Lady Luck showed up. Lady Luck? After that big earthquake, she showed up, all by herself. Iris. The real Iris. She said she'd come to make sure the sacred cavern was alright. Stupid girl. I came out from the sacred cavern and got a feel for the situation. And that's why there's more locks. Because if there was only the one... I understand. If there was only one lock, Iris would have been able to break it. Or open it easily. And I locked her away in my place. Oh dear. Oh god. I had finally learned exactly what had happened. It was then that I learned that the plan had actually succeeded. What do you mean your plan had succeeded? I had misunderstood one thing, you see. That night, the one that had summoned me, I had assumed that it was Pearl Fey. Well, of course you would have assumed that. It was written in the instructions. But I was wrong. The person that had actually called my spirit back was... Yep. Misty Fey. The picture book author. What? Indeed. Well, that's really the only possibility, isn't it? After I lost consciousness in the garden, it was her body that was left lying there. Maya Fey. I wasn't able to kill her with my own hands after all. But even so, I made her commit the most vile sin a human can commit. And that is... matricide. Oh, the sin of killing her own mother. Ugh. No way! Ordered in the court, what is the meaning of this? It's true that I was the one who attacked Maya Fey. But even so, the murderer who actually snuffed out Misty Fey's life was none other than... your darling little Maya. Ridiculous. That's nonsense. You sure about that? Just think about it. There's even evidence supporting these facts, isn't there? What? What do you mean? What is this so-called evidence? The fact that Maya Fey has disappeared is evidence enough, isn't it? The idea that she's still in the sacred cavern is just ridiculous. She wasn't able to escape from the inner temple, that much is obvious. In that case, there is only one place she could be. Where? Do I have to spell it out? The bottom of the Eagle River. Where else? Oh, she's saying that Maya's killed herself, essentially. Eagle River? Maya Fey killed her long-lost mother. Can you imagine the guilt she must have felt when she realised that? That's why she threw herself into the Eagle River. Most bodies that wind up in there are lost forever. So, what do you have to say now? Feeny. Ugh. Hmm? Oh my god, it's his theme. That's his ringtone? Are you serious? Oops, sorry, that's my phone. What kind of ringtone is that? He has the Steel Samurai, he can't comment. Gato here. Okay, thanks. Well, that was quick. Was it something important? They just finished removing the locks from the sacred cavern. That's great. What about Maya? There was a woman in the cave. Was it Maya Fey? It was the accused. Sister Iris. Huh? Don't look so surprised. I locked her in there yesterday. I just got finished telling you that. So what about Maya? Where is she? Wait a minute. I've just noticed something. It's like nothing like character detail or anything. How is Dahlia here? She's dead. She can only be here if she's being channeled. Right. The one person that was channeling her was Elise. She's dead. Her memory stops. Pearl hasn't channeled her because we saw her before we even came in here. And Maya has disappeared. Dahlia has appeared. Could it be possible that Maya's the one in the witness stand? I never even thought about it. I was just like, oh, it's Dahlia. Never even thought that you have to be channeled. There was no one else found inside the sacred cavern. No, it can't be. I was gonna say, it looks like that's her outfit, but it isn't. I told you, didn't I? She's dead. Actually, it could be her outfit. No. Oh dear. Nah, I'm standing by the whole... I'm pretty sure Dahlia Hawthorne is Maya. Or Maya's Dahlia Hawthorne. Either or. Okay, it seems that this case has come to an end. A tragic end. Sadly, it appears the killer of Elise, also known as Misty Faye, was her own daughter, Maya Faye. Overcome with guilt for what she had done, Maya Faye jumped to her death into the raging waters of the Eagle River. It can't be. Who the hell's laughing? Oh, he's laughing. Why would he be doing that at a time like this? Ha! Trite. Have you ever heard this one? Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, no matter how improbable it may seem. What is that supposed to mean, Prosecutor Godot? According to this witness, Maya Faye threw herself into the Eagle River. However, is that really the truth? Remember, this woman testified earlier that the bridge was already on fire when the murder was taking place in the garden, which means if Maya had thrown herself into the river, it must have been from the inner temple side, near the bridge. That's right, that's where she jumped from. You'd have seen the body. There's rocks below. It doesn't lead straight to the river. But that's impossible. It's impossible to jump into the river from there. There we go. What? Don't get your panties all twisted up, Trite. Just relax and think through the whole thing again. So it's impossible? Maya couldn't have thrown herself into Eagle River. Yeah, she couldn't have. Well, Mr. Wright, Miss Hawthorne claims Miss Faye threw herself into the river from the inner temple side. Do you have any evidence that refutes this claim? Yes, I do. Oh my god, yeah, you would have to... I was gonna say, you'd have to, like, seriously run and jump, but even then you wouldn't make it. I do indeed. It's impossible to jump into the Eagle River from the inner temple side. No one knows that better than this witness. What did you say? 11 years ago, you jumped into the very same river. Just take a look at this overhead map. As you can see, below the cliff on the inner temple side is a big rock shelf. Oh! You're right. She wouldn't have reached the river if she had jumped off from there. She would have killed herself, but you would have seen her body. In other words, if she had jumped, we would have been able to see her body in this photo. Ah! So, you finally figured it out. You... No! Oh, good. Whew! Order. You're just playing with me. Maya Faye's body is at the bottom of the Eagle River. There's nowhere else she could possibly be hiding. I think my theory is correct. Miss Hawthorne, have you ever heard this one before? Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Yes, just a few minutes ago. Maya Faye wasn't inside the sacred cavern. We know that. Oh, we now know that she didn't throw herself into the Eagle River. Correct. That eliminates all the most likely possibilities. Now, although it seems improbable, there's still one other place she could be. But what? What is this one possibility you were talking about? That's obviously a bluff. So where is her dead body then? Finally, I think the pieces are falling into place. Normally, the living have no way to punish the dead. But I think there is a way to give Dahlia Hawthorne the ultimate punishment. Shall I tell you, Miss Hawthorne? Shall I tell you where Maya is in this very instant? Or this very instant? Maya Fey is in this very courtroom. There's one possibility left. Namely, she's right here in this very courtroom. What? Maya Fey is here? You say she's here in my courtroom? Oh, that would be the ultimate punishment for her. Because she's been, you know, wanting to kill Maya so badly. She's assumed she's died, so she kind of stopped caring. And all along, she has been channeled by Maya, unknowingly. Dahlia Hawthorne, I seem to recall that you said I had misunderstood one thing, you see. So what? But I think there's one more thing you misunderstood. What do you mean? Tell me something. At this very moment, who was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne? There we go. But why that? That's obvious. It's Pearl Fey. That pathetic little snivelling runt. That's not possible, though. You're wrong. Pearl's tried, but she couldn't do it. I've never failed at channeling someone. This is the first time it's happened. Isn't there any explanation for why you couldn't channel a spirit? It could happen if someone else was already channeling the same spirit. Someone called me before Pearl did? But who? Pearl's even tried again the day after the crime, but she couldn't do it. What could that mean? I think the truth is becoming clearer to you right now, or right about now, am I correct? Oh ho ho! It wasn't Pearls that channeled you. There was someone who called you before she could. Ba ba da ba! This is an easy one. Pearls couldn't do it, and Misty Fey is gone. There's only one possibility left. Come on already. I can't stand the tension. Dahlia Hawthorne, the person channeling you right now must be Maya Fey. But what? But how could that be? Remember what this witness, Dahlia Hawthorne, said about her goal? She said that her goal was to kill Maya Fey. Yes, that's right. But if Maya Fey channeled the spirit of someone that was trying to kill her... Well, Gramps, what would happen? Could it be... It looks like you finally understand, Your Honor. Well, I don't. What are you going on about? What I'm going on about is the reason Maya channeled you. And there's one reason, only one reason, to protect herself from you. To protect herself? From me? Yes. On the night of the crime, you were only interested in one thing. Killing Maya Fey. The path to the inner temple was closed off, and there was nowhere for her to run. And then the problem became... Or so then the problem became... Where would be the safest place to hide? You mean... That's when she channeled me? All along, you thought you had been channeled by Pearls. That's why it never occurred to you that Maya's hiding place was you. Ooh, no. Oh dear. Oh, don't say that. You're saying that I was played for a fool by that little whelp? Maya Fey killed herself, isn't it obvious? Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, but no. It would have been impossible for her to jump into Eagle River. This was the only avenue of escape open to Maya. The only way that Maya could disappear from the inner temple. I don't believe you. A stupid little girl like that who has never been out in the real world. She could never have come up with a plan like that. Who could have even ever given her such a brilliant idea? Well, me, of course. Mia! Whoa, it's Pearls. Oh, look who it is. Mia! Mia Fey. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh my god, it's weird. It's two dead people having a conversation. Where the hell did Pearls come from? So it's true. It was you. Yes. Huh. You're something else. But what are you doing here? That hair. It's Pearls, right? Tell me something, Dahlia. I want you to think back to that night one more time. You had just cornered Maya in the inner temple's garden. And then, in the final moments of the fight, you lost consciousness. I was stabbed by Maya Fey. Actually, Maya lost consciousness at the same time as you. She did? Oh my god, this is getting real interesting. Not terribly surprising, since she was about to be killed. I mean, this is very true. When she woke up, she was in the training hall. That's when Maya decided she needed help. So she channeled me. She explained in a memo the situation she was in. She asked me what I thought she should do. She did that. I can't believe it. Of course, I didn't have all the details. But one thing was perfectly clear. And that was... I knew that you couldn't be allowed to wander free. Free? What do you mean? It was a race against time, so I wrote down 2 things that Maya had to do. Channel Dahlia Hawthorne as soon as possible, and lock herself in the sacred cabin until help arrived. So it was Maya who put that lock on there. Oh. Yes, but why did you order her to do those 2 things? If she hadn't done it, Dahlia Hawthorne would have been channeled by someone else, meaning Pearl. By one Pearl Fey. Pearls? Yes, Pearl didn't properly understand the plan. So all she was trying to do was follow her mother, Morgan Fey's instructions. If she had succeeded in channeling Dahlia Hawthorne's spirit, things would have turned out very badly, to put it mildly. So that's how it was. Dahlia Hawthorne would have used the body of Pearl Fey to kill Maya at all costs. Yes, it certainly sounds like that was the intent all along. How dare you! I won't forget this! Why not just admit it, Dahlia Hawthorne? Your little plan was nothing but a big failure. Yes, another failure to add to the pile of shame, wouldn't you say? What do you mean by another? Think about it, Dahlia. Remember all your past crimes? Not a single one of them was a success. They all ended in failure. What? How dare you? 11 years ago. The fake kidnapping? Your very first crime? You got your hands on a $2 million diamond, but... after Terry Falls escaped and went to meet with Valerie Hawthorne, the truth was exposed. Shut your mouth, that wasn't my fault. It was because of that stupid oaf of a prisoner and that weakling of a policewoman. And then, 1 year later, you tried to kill me. Well, I'm still alive, but... you wound up killing someone else. As a result, you were sentenced to death. It's one stupid move after another with you, or for you, but it's no longer funny. You, wipe that smug, happy-go-lucky smile off your face. And now this. You've messed up again. You let Maya Fey escape. Even though she was right there in front of you. Ah. Mia Fey. Oh dear. You spinster. I was supposed to kill Maya Fey like I swore I would. And if only you hadn't gotten this spiky-haired jerk the guilty verdict. Oh wait, only you had gotten him guilty. I wouldn't have been hanged to death. True. But I think you finally understand, Dahlia Hawthorne. You will never defeat me. Oh, what did you say? Whether you're alive, dead, or somewhere in between, you will never defeat me. As long as I'm around, you're destined to lose for all eternity. Breakdown, breakdown. I remember what you said earlier in the trial. You said there was no way we could punish you, because you were already dead. What about it? Then you said, even when the body dies, the spirit, the ego, it lives on, forever. That's very true, Dahlia. And that's exactly the punishment you'll never be able to escape from. For all of eternity, you'll have to remain as Dahlia Hawthorne, a miserable, pathetic, weak creature who can never win at anything. And for you, There is no escape from that, no hope of freedom. Since the day you were executed, the narrow bridge that once stretched out in front of you has burnt to a crisp. Damn! Oh, is this a breakdown? You are wrong. It can't be. How could I lose to the likes of you? It no longer matters. I don't care whether you win or lose anymore. The only thing I want is for you to come out of Maya's body right now. There's the breakdown. Oh my god. What the— oh god. Oh, that was fucking awful. I hated that. Jesus. Ugh. Not a fan. I'm not ready. Not ready to— no, I thought it was going to be die. You're already dead though. Oh, Jesus. Oh look, it's the Magatama. Oh my god. Wow. Holy crap. She's alive! Nick. Sis. Passed out. Not surprising. Oh, there she— oh my god, she's actually on the floor. Oh god, at least she's alive. I was not expecting that bloody scream though. Now then. I assume you are the real Iris? Yes. I was just rescued from the sacred cavern. I must say, you and your twin sister are indeed identical from what I can see. In any case, it appears that everything has finally been cleared up. Mr. Gatto, what happened to Dahlia Hawthorne? If you ask me, Your Honor, it looks like she went back to the hell she came from. Seems that Misty Faye wasn't the only victim of this crime. Maya Faye as well, as the young Pearl Faye, were also victims of this wicked and selfish plan. Yes, Your Honor. The tragedy of Medium Valley has finally come to an end, it seems. It would be best for everyone if no further attempt was made to channel that spirit again. Your Honor? Yes, what is it? About this whole spirit medium thing. It's almost weird how comfortable you seem to be with the concept now. Well, to be frank, my younger brother is quite judgmental. He often criticizes me for not studying hard enough. That's why I made a concerted effort to study up on the Karine channeling technique. Hey, isn't that the New Year's issue of Oh, Cult? I've seen quite a few things in my many years on the bench, and in all that time I finally learned this one thing. Each case is different and takes place in its own world, if you will. In order to fully understand that world, first we have to immerse ourselves in it completely. And that's where my brother and I used to differ. Never thought of it that way. Donk. At any rate, it's time to pass judgment in the case of Iris of Hazakura Temple.
Objection!
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna say we haven't really solved the murders, or anything. We've just proved that Iris was Dahlia. That's basically it. You're a little too fast with that gavel, Your Honor. What do you mean by that, Mr. Gatto? This trial, it isn't over yet. That's what he means. What? Wright. Remember what Miss Evil Spirit said in her testimony? Huh? Dahlia's testimony? I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. Then I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and died. It's strange, but I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that. I think I was stabbed. Just as Dahlia Hawthorne was about to attack Maya, she was stabbed and killed by someone. Yes, that's right. The person that was ultimately killed was the spirit medium that channeled Dahlia. Elise. No, Misty Faye. But who killed her? We still don't know who did it. This isn't over? Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Unless someone else is found guilty, the accused is still on trial. We can't let her walk until there is evidence that proves her innocence. No way. But this court isn't prepared for any further testimony. The prosecution is ready to call our final witness. Final witness? This one will clear up the whole mystery. The mystery of who killed Misty Faye. Indeed. Is it really alright, Mr. Prosecutor? Of course it's alright, Madame Attorney. Very well then. Who is this final witness? Huh. Isn't it obvious? There's one person who saw the whole event and will put the final dagger in the case. Someone who saw the murder take place? The very person who saw her mother killed in front of her own eyes. You mean... Maya? You can't. She can't testify after what she's just been through. We need to find the truth. The prosecution calls Maya Faye to the witness stand. Jesus. Very well. But first, we'll take a brief recess. We'll have to wait for Miss Faye to recover before summoning her. Once we receive the doctor's permission, we will proceed with the trial. Hey Wright, I've got something to say to you, so listen up. What is it? I don't think much of you as a lawyer. It's always the same with you. You somehow manage to just squeak by without even a faint understanding of the case. Some beautiful women always seems to come dashing in at the last minute to save you. You've got some nerve. But that's not going to happen this time. This time, you're going to have to do this by yourself. Ooh! That's enough. This court is now in recess. Alright. Oh, she's crying. I'm truly sorry about everything. You were working so hard to defend me. But I was missing all day and we didn't even have a chance to talk. She's right. When I met Iris at the training hall yesterday, they had already switched places. And Iris was inside the sacred cavern. That's why she was so goddamn blunt! Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Because Phoenix asked one thing, what did Dahlia truly think of me? And then she said with a pretty straight and blunt answer, she despised you. Or hated your guts, I think is what she said. I wanted to at least be in the defendant's box today to root you on. Well, it wasn't your fault. You were locked up this whole time. There's something more important than that, though. I have to ask you. Why did you help your sister out as much as you did? Huh? If you had tried to get help at the Sacred Cavern yesterday, you wouldn't have spent an entire day locked up in there. My sister, I felt sorry for her. She was abandoned by her mother and never got any love from her father either. Yes, but it was the same for you too, wasn't it? Yes, but at least I had Sister Bikini, who was always like a mother to me. If only Dahlia had come with me to Hazakura Temple. I always loved her. Dahlia was always so smart, so strong. She never complained about a thing. That's why I promised her that I would help her. Are you talking about the fake kidnapping case 11 years ago? Yes. I wanted to be useful to her in some way. But, as usual, I was too cowardly. At the last minute, I ran away. Because of that, that's why she deems her a traitor. Dahlia's half-sister, Valerie, ended up... Oh god. That was the case that wounded Mia so badly. But things didn't end there, of course. Some people suspected that my sister was involved in the murder. Some people? You must mean... Yes, two defense lawyers. Mia Faye and Diego Armando. After poisoning Mr. Armando, who was getting too close to learning the truth, Dahlia even tried to kill the person who had unknowingly hit the poison for her. You. That's right. Iris. There's one more thing that I have to ask you. Yes, what is it? On the night of the murder, the person that cleaned up the corpse of the victim, Misty Faye, was it really you? Yes, it was me. That night, after I rang the lights out bell, I went back to my room. At around 10:30, I received a call on my cell phone. There's a problem. Come to the inner temple right away. I got on the snowmobile and headed for the inner temple. But that's when the bridge caught fire. The path to the inner temple was cut off, right? Exactly. We can't just leave the body here. Alright, let's do this as you said. Whee! Pendulum! Still can't believe that would work. Although my question is, how the hell would they have grabbed the wire from the middle of the bridge? You can't tell me that a suspension wire would have snapped, but still remained on its point. Unless they snapped it. Oh, I'm an idiot. They did snap it. It was me. I was the one that received her body. Yeah, all the suspension wires would have been intact. But in order to get it over to that side, they would have probably cut it, wrapped her body in it, and then sent it as a pendulum. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I feel like a right idiot for not realising. The murder weapon had been left in her body so she wouldn't bleed too much. The staff that Mystic Elise always held. I knew it. So the actual murder weapon was the staff. Yes, that's right. I brought the body back to Hazakura Temple on the snowmobile. But why? Why did you alter the body? I didn't want anyone to know that the staff was the murder weapon. I didn't want to leave anything that would lead back to Misty Faye. So I dressed her in a robe and stabbed her with the Shitishito. I wiped the blood off the staff's blade and left it next to her on the ground. Bloody hell. Iris, just tell me one last thing. Tell me the name of the person that called your cell phone. The real killer. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I can't do it. I can't say who did it. I see. I mean, we were told we have to figure this out by ourselves. Oh, Jesus. Defendant. Yes? The judge is calling you. He wants to see you in his chambers. He has some questions about Dahlia Hawthorne. Alright. Well then, I'll see you later. There's something I want to tell you later. Oh, okay. Something she wants to tell me. So it's true. Iris cooperated with the real killer. Maybe even from the very beginning. Phoenix. Hey, it's Pearl. Mia. How is Maya doing? Physically, I'm not worried. She'll recover completely. But emotionally, she's been hurt very badly by this case. I see. You don't mean she learned who Elise really was? Yes, I went to the medical office and talked with her. I told her everything I knew. But why? Maya is stronger than you think. I knew she could take it. All of it. What do you mean by that? I want you to figure that answer out by yourself. The trial is about to restart. The real killer. Do you know who it is yet? Iris wouldn't tell me who called her, but still. I think that just maybe, I know who it was. That night, the victim was killed in the garden of the inner temple. And the criminal wasn't just there by accident. Which means that the killer knew of Dahlia's plan from the very beginning. And one more thing. The victim was moved to Hazakura Temple outside by pendulum. In other words, the criminal couldn't cross the bridge. That means they were stuck on the inner temple side for almost an entire day. Exactly. So the criminal was someone that wasn't in Hazakura Temple the following day. Wasn't. That's as much help as I can give you. The rest of the battle is yours to win, or lose. Okay, I've got it. Thank you, Mia. Yeah! Finally. It's almost time to bring this case to an end. What exactly did Maya see, anyway? And who was it that actually killed Misty Faye? Whoever it was, I have to prove it. Me, all by myself. To be continued. My god. Hot damn. Can't believe it's been 2 hours and I've still got one trial to go. So each of them have taken about an hour. Let's go! On to the final part. Ba-ba-da-ba! I really wish I had a drink. I have a can, but I don't want to open it because it's noisy. I don't want to hear that shht of it just opening up. Alright. Right, now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the test we had performed earlier. Tests? Yes, tests. The bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree. Oh yeah! That, I totally forgot about it. Me too. That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim. So what are the results? Was it the victim's blood, or... Due to time constraints, a full test wasn't possible. However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. Oh. That is all. Now then, let's restart this trial. So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger. Then whose was it? Dagger updated in the court record. I'm sure both the defense and the prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their claims. I understand, Your Honor. From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking. So, let's finish this quickly. Agreed. I'm assuming that means I can't badger everything. So I can't just press on every single statement. Very well, please bring in the last witness. I mean, I probably can, but I might try and not do. Witness, please tell us your name and profession. Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Co. Law Offices? Maya. According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the Quran channeling technique. I'm frightened. The Fey clan, I don't want any more to do with it. Oh, Maya. The pain the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable. Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the Inner Temple, and you witnessed the moment of Miss Elise's murder. Is this correct? I didn't see any... Straighten up this moment, young lady. Huh? Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later. But Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen? Whew. Witness, if you please. Yes, Your Honor. At the Inner Temple. I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!" Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness. So, you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been with this, been this staff. Maya, the person who hit you, it was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was. Maya, think hard. Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't. Huh. Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. It seems that it will be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination. Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. At the Inner Temple. I'm probably going to avoid just pressing everything because I don't know if I should. Sod it, I'll press this one and see what happens. If it penalises me, then I won't. I'm just like, should I? I'll save. Yeah, save game and suspend play, and then I'll just go back. Just so it, you know, in case. Suspending game. Continue from suspension point. Wait, save point, jeez. Right, yeah, so press. Who else was on the inner temple side that night? Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember her saying that Iris would be coming later as well. On the day after the incident, Edgeworth met Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said? Well, let me think. She seems confused. It's probably because she's so tired. No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come while I was preparing for training. Okay, it seems I don't get penalised, so that's fine. Sure, press everything. Woo! Who did it? Who hit you? I don't know. Well, I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind. You didn't see the person? But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was? Oh. Let me think for a sec. I'm sorry. I just can't remember. Myra's really having a hard time. What should I do? Don't press harder. Leave her alone. Considering the conditions at the crime scene, it's not surprising she didn't see her attacker. Huh. So it looks like even you've got some compassion. Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely the spirit that was channeled by Elise. Yeah, Dahlia Hawthorne. Very well. Please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head? She stumbled, ended up against the stone lantern. What happened afterwards? My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape, I think. You think? After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There were only two things rolling around in my mind at the time. Well now, this is beginning to get interesting. So what were the two things rolling around in your mind? My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid I was going to lose my memory. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was. That's not odd at all. Your actions are understandable, given the circumstances. So, what did you do then? I think I screamed, "Help me!" You think you screamed, but you're not sure? Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits. Believe me, my dear. I'm certain I would have soiled my robes. Nice. I thought this person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought that it was my last hope. Wow, it sounds like poor little Maya really was out of her mind. I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do? Do I press her for more details? My last hope. Wait a minute, Maya. What's this my last hope stuff? What? What do you mean by your last hope? No. That's what you said. You said my last hope. Huh? What? I said what? Look, you were facing an attacker that you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me." Yeah. But you testified that you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope. Oh, well, you know, that's like, what do you call it when that happens? Maya's not doing so well up there. Oh yeah, oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at. What did you just say? Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming to for help. What is it now? I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out. She's keeping secrets. Witness, are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person? I am. Well, I meant to keep that part a secret. Oh my god, is she really, like, on truth serum? What have I done? Huh. It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say. A ton of pressure. You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up and try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony. I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern. Well, that can't be true, because the lantern didn't have a light. Yeah, was not lit the night of the crime. I object, Maya. So there was a man standing behind your attacker. Yeah. That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise, otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother. The killer? Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you? She tried to protect them. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony. Huh? What do you mean? What problem? Maya, on the night of the crime, the stone lantern was out of commission. What? It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night. Order in the court. Mr. Gatto, explain this. Add the pureness of milk to the perfect, clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait, lot, whatever. Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Mr. Tright's words are the milk. Wait, are the milk and you are the spoon, Your Honor? I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know. You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not going to cut it. What did you say? If there truly was no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony. Nick, may I? Recall the witness's statements about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker, and she quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would have to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of the attacker in front of her. No! Oh, I think I know. Oh no. Oh, really? What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? You saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Objection.
Troy, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene. Well, there was something. There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Gatto. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark. And now, you're trying to cover for him. Cover? For the man that killed her mother? There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is. Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you. Huh. You talk a good game, Trite. But let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black. So what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff. No, Nick, don't. Please, stop. Oh no. Maya's dead set on protecting this guy. The man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer, an officer of the law. Of the court. I'm here to find the truth. Alright, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you've got. Who was this person that you say Miss Faye saw in the darkness? It can only be one person. Yeah, if I look at any of these other people, what do they all have in common? They don't have a bit of machinery attached to their face that would light up. Oh, that does light up. Oh, God, really? I'm just sad. I want it to be Goddo. Because it was pitch black, Miss Fay was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes? What? But how do you propose to show us something like that? It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night. Conditions? Yeah, turn off the light. Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off. Oh. Okay, maybe not. What? This is... But it can't be. Unless it's... Is it doing a really, like, slow reveal? Oh god, yeah it is. Oh my god, that's so creepy. That was a nice bit of deduction. Trite. Hey! I was not expecting it to light up that much. So that's why she could tell it was a man. But then again, if it was a visor, that would have given it away anyway. Who else in this game wears that? Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Goddo, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Huh. Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person. What do you mean by that? If you've got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night? Oh, pardon me. Was it 3 glowing red lights? Well, witness, answer the question. You're wrong. I never saw that. Oh, she's covering for him. Maya. I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man. For a totally different reason. What? What? Witness, Mr. Wright, what the... Stop your chattering, Your Honor. Chattering? If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Alright. Jeez. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please let us know... please tell us how you knew the killer was a man. Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realise it until after I woke up, but... Oh yeah, she passed out, didn't she? The killer! My god. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and the body was gone. And all of the snow around the snow lantern had been carefully cleaned up too. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man. So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor. No need to apologise. It's as Mr. Goddo said. You're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the criminal was a man. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. The killer. So you lost consciousness when you were in the garden, is that right? Yes, I think. I think it happened when the victim was stabbed. So then the person that carried you into the inner temple, it could only have been the killer. That's what I think too. So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Oh, God. Naturally the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide. I don't know. Looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. Okay, so this is one where I have to do it in a specific order. Torches were lit and the body was gone. The torches were lit? Yes, that's how I noticed that the whole scene had changed. I'm gonna say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be? The killer probably lit them, since it being impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body? That's true. It's hard to see how that would be of any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya. Very well, let me hear some more about the condition of the crime scene. So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow? It did look really odd. Yeah, it was awfully, like, carved out. The snow was removed in an unnatural looking rectangle, or rectangular shape, around the lantern. There were a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy, way too heavy for me to use. An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away? Well, there's one thing I can think of. Didn't you say that a lot of victims' blood sprayed on the snow? Yeah, the area I collapsed in ended up being splattered. In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation. Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with the blood on it, there was no need to remove that amount. That's true. He could have scooped up just the blood, just the snow that was stained with blood. Looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue, but I think this will help explain them. Yeah, that doesn't seem worthy. Do I have enough information for this? The place had totally changed. Eventually the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so, but why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide. The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something. You did? Yeah. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me, for my sake. What? Hiding it for you? Everyone knew that I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden, she may have thought that you had done it. No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened? Yes, I'm sure of it. Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony. Yes, Your Honor. I think it was for my sake that the killer cleaned up the evidence of what had happened. In which case, why did they not clean the stone pillar? Or lantern? It's still got blood on it. That's twice I've used this. The body of Elise was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspect was covered in blood was scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that still seems somewhat odd. Oh? And what would that be? You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Gordo. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. Hey, Sinks. Thanks for the follow. How's it going? Hope all's well. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't he wipe the writing off the lantern? You're right. I think we know why. I mean, we went over it earlier. But Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene? Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. Then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing. Objection! But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behaviour? Why would this killer move the body and remove all that snow? But then leave the bloody writing on the lantern? Simple. I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in blood on the lantern? Because he didn't notice it. As was evidenced earlier in the trial. Prosecutor Gatto, earlier in this trial you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it. But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that. You're right. There is no way any normal person would. What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. And who would that be? Who is the person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing? Oh god, it's Gatto again. Mr. Gatto. This is what you said yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Gatto? This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented. This lantern? There's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. Mr. Gatto, just admit it. There are certain colours you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before. During the poisoning case at Tribulations. Oh yeah, he couldn't see that. This is the apron the delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time, and somehow spilled coffee on. There's something still bothering me, Mr. Gatto. Why have you not explained the bloodstain to the court? Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be? Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-coloured stain that's smeared all over the apron. That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup, because it was red. Now look at his smile. Ha! It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them? So then, Mr. Gatto, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you couldn't see the red writing on the lantern? Ooh, boy. Hey, Gramps. Didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea. Oh my. I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Gatto is the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Gatto, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise, whatever her name is, also known as Miss Misty Fey. It's hard to believe that this may be true, however, once again Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you. Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in a red ink, Gramps. Come on, how does a little graffiti make me into a killer? Or into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name written on there, or that's written there. I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the colour red. This is rich, do go on, try it. The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow. In the snow? How so? Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honour, you said it yourself. If they wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not take out just that area? Yes, why didn't they take just that area? Ah, could it be? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow. And so, he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure of where the blood had landed, so he removed the whole area. Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark? Not a chance. The torches were all lit. They would have been able to see fine. It seems that once again this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Gatto? My goodness. Wait, who said hold it? Oh, Maya. Wait, just a minute. Oh, just wait a minute. Maya. What is it, witness? Mr. Gatto isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after that old bridge got fixed up.
Objection.
Maya. You can't testify to something like that. Why? What do you mean? I may not look it, but I'm... Oh dear. After the murder happened, you didn't even exist. She didn't... I'm afraid I don't follow. You senile old man? We established this just a little while ago. Yes, you channeled Dahlia Hawthorne. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, that's right. Please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me. Oh god. Do you plan to cover for Gatto no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her. Nicely done, Wright. Alright. Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the inner temple after the murder. Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling, and my spirit left me, as it were. But that little girl was there at the inner temple too. Pearl, I'm guessing. Okay, so after the incident. Pearlie was also stuck on the inner temple side that night. Oh yeah, I was trying to press it. The next morning, she looked around but couldn't find anyone. Oh, pardon me. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Gatto arrived at the inner temple for the first time. He found Pearlie first, and cheered her right up. Okay. So who is this Pearlie? That's my little cousin, Pearlfey. So when did you hear about this? Oh, just a while ago, when I was in the medical office. I'm terribly sorry. But what you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. What? Come on. Pearlie would never tell a lie. She's a way more honest person than I'll ever be. Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath. The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness. Mr. Gatto, let's just move on to the cross-examination, if the defense has no objections. This is highly unusual, but... Well, Mr. Wright, let's get this cross-examination started. We're really close to the end of the game. Yeah. After the incident. So where did you... Wait, what the heck? Where did do? I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to say, but where did you think Pearl slept that night? In the spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter the training hall during an acolyte's training. But even so, why did she go to the inner temple in the first place? It seems that Pearls became very worried about Maya. She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense. Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the inner temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Elise. The next morning she looked around but couldn't find anyone. So she searched the entire inner temple side, end to end? Well, you see, Pearly gets pretty scared when she's alone. And there weren't that many places to look. She says that she even went back and forth several times. The inner temple side has two structures, the training hall and a spare prep room. There's also a storage shack, I think. That's about it. There was a storage shack too? Pearls was looking for other people, right? Would she have really examined a storage shack all that carefully? Well, if it was me, that would be the first place I would investigate. So that means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in the storage shack. When the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge. And when you say them, you mean Gumshoe. What do you mean? Just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I'd at least go out and wait at the foot of the bridge. Oh, well, Pearly said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night that she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times. Poor little girl. All alone like that. Well, we know that she had at least one friend in the sacred cabin. Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling with a trick lock. She couldn't let anyone see her, so she wouldn't have shown herself to Pearls. What happened after the bridge was finally fixed? Mr. Gallo arrived at the inner temple for the first time. So it was your first time on the inner temple side, Mr. Gatto? That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question? Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. Touché, Mr. Wright. Oh well. What do you have to say, Mr. Gatto? Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't have been for this case, I never would have visited there. Freezing cold temple in the mountains. I think I'll pass. So we had never visited Hazakura Temple, or the inner temple, huh? You want to say something, Wright? In any case, I have to find a crack in Gatto's armor. While I cross-examine Mia, that is. Very well, please go on with your testimony. After fixing the bridge, the policeman came over to the inner temple side, right? Yes, then Mr. Gatto found Pearly first, and cheered her right up. So he cheered her up? That's what Pearly said. She said he was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Gatto. And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict. Huh. Cut it out. You're making me blush. This guy is really beginning to get on my nerves, in more ways than one. Truth is, there aren't that many places to look on the inner temple side. The policemen were all busy going over the garden, with fine-toothed combs. Or toothed combs, so I decided to carry out an investigation in my own way. Godo style. Godo style, even. Godo. I'm the same way. I like to hand down verdicts in my own way, judge style. Maybe I should ask some questions. Phoenix style. God. Right, Godo's investigation. You said that you conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything? Looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Trite. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern. Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles. The only thing I discovered was the beauty in the training hall. Beauty? Misty Faye, naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Wait, how did he know it was Misty? I'm confused. Would he have known it was her? I guess so. Western tastes. Could he find a stranger way to describe gravy? So from there you headed for the prep room. Wait a sec. What did Godo say just now? I think I just found his proverbial weak spot. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godo when the murder was taking place? He must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Elise. So Pearly was also stuck on... Oh, right, yeah. Oh, wait, no. So it would be this that he was on about. Obscured by gravy. Mmm, delicious. Mr. Gatto. The first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the Inner Temple was long before the murder took place. Oh wait, yeah, it would have been. I didn't even realise. Because he said he saw her. And he wouldn't have if she was obscured by gravy. Yeah, because he kind of described it in detail. Why do you say that? Because he just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall. Hanging scroll? But Mr. Gatto was right. That scroll shows a picture of my mother. Maya, I know you know who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. What's that wonderfully delicious smell? The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy. Gravy? But why gravy, Nick? Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Gatto, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye. Oh! Wait a minute, Nick. Yes? Take another look at the hanging scroll. Look, at the top. There's a crest there. Ah, that. It's the mark of the Master, correct? Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark, then you could guess that it was a picture of Misty Faye on there. True, Mr. Gatto described what was underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Oh. Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Gatto, on the day of the murder, you were hiding at the Inner Temple long before the crime took place. Can I ask you just one little thing, Wright? What is it? This whole theory of yours, it all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed. That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene. Of course Mr. Gatto knew about the plan. Huh? What did you say? Is it really possible that another person knew of the plan? Oh god, what do I present? I would say the burnt letter, but how would we know? Does it say it's been opened? Oh, there! Opened once before, so yeah, that is it. Good. This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan for her daughter's future, and these instructions were hidden somewhere in the Fay Manor for a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. Unsealed? Yes, the killer had read these instructions long before Pearls ever found them. That's how he knew the crime was to take place at the Inner Temple. And you're saying this crafty killer is me? You bet I am. But you just said that the instructions were hidden. That's right. Mr. Gatto couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden. If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out. Yeah, so when was that? During a visit. A visit? Morgan Fay told her daughter Pearl about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. Eavesdropping on a visit at the detention center? Yes, it could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Gatto. Ooh. Order! Mr. Gatto, you're under fire again. This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have acquired this information before the murder. Humans are afraid of the dark. And yet, at the same time, we're fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's what humans drink the darkness that is coffee. Sorry for always asking, but what does that mean? It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the inner temple and waited for the crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all of that just to protect this witness? That's right. If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, why would I do this? This girl is nothing but a stranger to me. I've got no reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect her. I am what you see. I am certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress. The killer's behaviour is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life. His behaviour is still a little too unnatural. So, however, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Gatto? An unshakable reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs. I knew it. You figured it out, haven't you, Nick? Ah. Oh yeah. I guess you were doing your best to cover for Gatto. For the same reason, huh? Okay, Trey, I'm all ears. Let's hear it. It's very simple. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you. What's this? There's one person who lies at the very centre of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably. Oh! There's a very good reason why Maya Fey's life is so precious to you. After all, she is Mia Fey's only sister. Mia Fey? You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney. Wait a second here. Mr. Gatto is a defense attorney? With your Honor's piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Gatto. His real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right? Speed drink? Oh. Spits it out. Oh no. The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago. Diego Armando. That name rings a bell. It should, Your Honor. All of this is related to a single case. Yeah, Terry Falls. A case in which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court, the tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense lawyer at the office where Mia worked. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself. Mia, you can't cry yet. And then he crushed the cup and made himself bleed. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. I was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients, that pure sweet heart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Mia and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. Then one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria. Ah, here we go. Yeah, he was, it's kind of obvious he was the attorney that was poisoned. I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned. Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee. Some newspapers at the time called it a murder. But very little information about the case was released to the press. But you weren't dead at all. No official reports ever actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep, deep coma. I see. My body shut down, and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight, and all of my hair turned white due to the damage it caused. That's terrible. Apparently it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. 5 years had passed since I drank that poisoned brew. And one morning my eyes flew open, from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee. 5 years? You were asleep for 5 years? And the worst possible news was waiting for me. That Mia was dead. Mia Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I loved had been murdered, and the woman I loathed had been sentenced to death. The woman you loathed? The woman who had spiked my scalding hot coffee, Dahlia Hawthorne. Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up. That's so sad. For someone like me, for someone who had slept away their best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live, and it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor. If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live? The first was you, Wright. Huh? Me? If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Mia Fey would never have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her, but you let her die. It was all your fault. It wasn't like that. I wanted to see for myself what kind of a man you really were. So that's why you became a prosecutor. My other reason for living, she goes by the name of Maya Fey. You mean me? You were the only way I could make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Karine village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about her. That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center. I knew that the time was drawing near. Since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it. That makes sense. If Pearls had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out, even if it was a direct order from her mother. Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices. Accomplices? Iris of Hazakura Temple and Misty Fey. I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall in my backup plan, in case we couldn't control Pearl Fair. But how did you contact my mother? She'd been missing for almost 20 years. Officially, yes. What? What do you mean, officially? You've heard about it, haven't you? About the strong ties between the main family and the government? Now that you mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said that the Master of Karine had great authority. Even without her official position, Misty Face still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. That's how I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor. So my mother was cooperating with you? Don't ever forget, no matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you. She was always... That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. If you want to know how strong her resolve to protect you was, take a look at her staff. Her staff? The one with the sword in it? The day the plan was to be carried out arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then, just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Fey, if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. Mother. Jesus. That night, the night of the crime, there was just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan. You mean Pearls? Don't you? We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne. Well, Pearl, what are you going to do tonight? Well, if you'd like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together. That was her way of trying to get her so that she didn't... Ah... We thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan. But she never showed up. She was worried and followed me to the inner temple. That was the thing we were most afraid of. And that's why Misty Faye had to do the channeling herself. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne into her own body. What? What do you mean? If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself. As Master of Karine, Misty Faye's power was supreme. So that's how it went down. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Faye wouldn't be able to. What? But that does mean that Misty Faye was the one that attacked Maya. What? Is this true? My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Faye. That's why I hid myself at the inner temple. Just in case you needed to be saved from Dahlia Hawthorne. Goddo. Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to. Trite. Huh? There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense lawyer. But you're going to have to do the rest yourself. Huh? The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's just one remaining... Oh no, there's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Faye, and I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Goddo. Well, Trite, if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own. No, Nick. Please don't. Maya. I heard the whole thing. From my sister, in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Goddo. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia. And me too. Maya, I know that. Nick. But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify. Miss Faye, your testimony, please. This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips. I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick. Alright, young lady. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder? Bloody hell. This is a bloody lengthy trial. Each trial segment has taken about an hour. The time of the murder. Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights. 3 of them. I thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead, though. She struck back at the enemy behind her. Suddenly the red lights went out, and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream. Right after that, Dahlia collapsed, and I lost consciousness. Oh. These red lights. I thought you said you don't remember seeing them. I'm sorry. I thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden. Huh. Things break, Trite. Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Faye? It looks like you still can't prove it. Why is telling the truth this time? I know it. The rest is up to me. Ba-ba-da-ba! Well then, Mr. Wright. Proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness. You got it. Whew, time of the murder. I only have one thing that I want to press on. Ugh. And it's right here. What do you mean by just at that moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out? Yes, that's right. The scream that you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice. What? So then, that scream came from the killer? That's got to be it. I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it. and then the killer let out a scream of pain, huh? After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow, I guess. Not possible. The blade was, like, remained in her body, so that didn't happen. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems to make sense to me. Sounds like a reasonable deduction, but I still kind of wonder. There's a contradiction. I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction. That makes sense. After all, my deductions are almost certainly never correct. Remember the testimony she just gave before the killer let out a scream? Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim. Is that right? She couldn't have struck back with the sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff. That dagger. If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Trite. There's only one thing I can think of that could have been used as a weapon here. If Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back by the staff, what could she have used to strike back at the killer? Boosh! Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. This dagger was found at the crime scene, stuck into a pine tree. Yes, the detective found it, this morning and brought it to me. Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this, and she managed to wound him as well. Just because he let out a scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood and the dagger could have been from the victim. Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body. Ooh. So you're saying the blood on this dagger belongs to the killer? Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Gatto, it would prove that it's your blood. Nice theory, Trite. Order in the court. Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the results of a scientific test. Huh. Let me ask you something, Trite. Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. Do you really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that? What? Just think for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought to me. There was already a bloodstain on it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom. Yes, what does that prove? Well, if I really were the killer, I could have washed the blade off and then planted another person's blood on it. It can't be. In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, Trite. That blood, it doesn't belong to me. Not a chance. What? Oh my god. In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. Alright then, witness. Continue your testimony. What? Wait a minute. What's the problem? I know I probably shouldn't say this, but there's a big contradiction in Nick's explanation. Maya. This dagger. You said that it wounded the killer. That's right. But, if Mr. Gatto had really been cut with the dagger, his clothes should be bloody or have a rip in them, right? Maya? Maybe he just changed his clothes. That'd solve the contradiction pretty easily. What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Everyone that was on the inner temple side got trapped there. Yeah, that's right. Once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for the inner temple, Mr. Gatto was already there waiting for them. Oh, look at that smile. He never had a chance to change his clothes. Ack! Oh no! Order in the court. Jesus. Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him. But No one could have predicted the lightning strike that shut down the bridge. Why would anyone have brought a change of clothes? Did the judge take smart pills during the last recess? Well then, maybe the killer took off his clothes before he committed the murder. That way, he wouldn't get any blood on them. That's impossible, Wright. You know how cold it gets up there late at night? After a few minutes with no clothes on, you'd be frozen solid. Ah! Oh no! Like a ha! So that's all you've got? I knew you weren't tough enough to finish this. Right now, if Mia Fey were here... If Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book on this case already. If Mia Fey were here... So come on, Trike. Can you do it or not? How about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Gatto of being the killer. But can you prove it? Have you got even one piece of evidence? The question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is, I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught that it's one of the rules of being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition just as you want it. Oh, nice! We got cornered! That's good. A fighter till the bitter end, right? Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the unlimited penalty? Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Gatto? Because it doesn't matter to me. I've got the one piece of evidence I need. Give me a break. You've got nothing, Trite. So what do I do at a time like this? It's simple, I've got to think out... Oh god, this again. I gotta think outside the box and approach this from a different angle. Alright then. Mr. Wright, let's hear what you've got. There's one thing that I've demonstrated in the previous cross-examination. The killer was wounded. That was proven by the blood on the dagger. But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, there should have been a bloodstain on his clothing. There's one place the killer could have hidden his wound. What did you say? Hidden. God, I have one chance. This is it, my last stand. I need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there was no bloodstains on his clothing. I need to show how he hid the wound. It's the end of the line, the final stop, Trite. Let's hear what you've got. Oh, I don't like it. Where's this location where you say the killer hid his wound? It's on you. Oh, I don't like this. Can I save? I can't save. Oh no. Oh no. I'm going for it. I don't know what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, Trite? Oh god. What was that just now? Why are we getting his monologues? Mia? It can't be. You're living on? Through him? Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. Oh my. Oh, that's badass. It's beneath your mask. During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask went flying off your face. Mr. Gatto, would you mind removing your mask? If you have a dagger wound under there somewhere, then I'd say this whole case is solved. Oh god, what's happening? Oh dear! I thought it was gonna, like, explode off his face. Jesus. He's like, whoa! Well, that was quite the spectacle. Yes. Maya's also, like, very sad. What? Of course. Just now, I saw her spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago. You helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic happy-go-lucky life. You even had the nerve to follow in her footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought. Mr. Gatto? But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find it in my heart to forgive was myself. I knew it was me. You, yourself? I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth, to escape from the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. I hid behind a mask. I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit. But you saved Maya. Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway. What do you mean? Are you listening, Maya? If I had really wanted to save you, then there's one person that I should have gone and talked to right away. Phoenix. Who would that be? Are you talking about Nick? But I didn't do it. I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother. But I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason? No, why? I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all. Huh? I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia, nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me. You're wrong. You put your life on the line to save Maya. Was it really for Maya's sake? Even I'm not really sure. What do you mean by that? That night, in the darkness of the garden, when I saw her silhouette. Oh, damn! A part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. But rage consumed him. It could have been Misty Faye or even that little girl. But I still picked up the blade. It was like I was dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by the pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else? That he just wanted to get back at Dahlia Hawthorne? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from Mia's death. Instead, you picked up where she left off, as a true defender of the people. That's such a cool... It just looks incredible. In that one moment, I understood everything. Mr. Gatto. I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando. Diego Armando? I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me. Oh dear. Thanks. Your wound, it's bleeding. Huh. Did you forget already? In my world, the colour red doesn't exist. These must be my tears. Tears? Ever since I woke up from my coma. I think I've been waiting for this very moment. Mr. Armando. You do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Oh, damn. Oh, did we get the verdict? Not guilty! This time it really is all over, isn't it? Defendant. Yes, Your Honor. Although you weren't directly involved in the murder. Tampering with the body in the crime scene is a serious offence in itself. Bap. I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Armando explained that to me very carefully. I knew the risk, and I willingly cooperated anyway. Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like to say? Well, there is one thing. I'd like to say something to Mr. Wright. I want to apologize to you. Apologize? To me? For what? For the case 6 years ago. Of course. I just remembered. Weren't you poisoned by your own lover? Not exactly. But yeah, something like that. Even now, 6 years later, I can hardly believe it. She was going to do it. She was planning to kill me. It's not all that surprising. The two of you hardly knew each other. Huh? What do you mean? You and my sister. You only met twice. Wait. Was it Iris all along? We only met twice? The first time you met was on that fateful day. The second time she met was when she was called into court. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria of this very courthouse. The next time you met her was 6 months later. You met her again on the day that she stole your cold medicine. And Doug Swallow was killed. No way. It can't be true. I mean, during our whole relationship, we were... For those 6 months, the woman that you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister. Huh? It wasn't Dahlia. It was me. I hope one day you can forgive me. Feeny. Aww. She was the nice one as well. You. You mean... That's right. I lied to you. For 6 months. Wow. But why? Why would you do such a thing? Ever since she gave you the bottle that day, my sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could. Because of the police investigation and their surveillance, she couldn't move about freely. So that's why you... My sister, from the beginning, she was prepared for the worst. Prepared for the worst? She thought that you might somehow discover the truth. That's why she was always ready to deal with you at a moment's notice. You mean, she was ready to kill me, She was ready to kill me, don't you? She already had so much to answer for, I didn't want any more sins on her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance. And that's why you came to me? You came to get the bottle pendant back from me in her place. But I couldn't get you to give it back. I failed at something even as simple as that. 6 months passed and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, my sister couldn't wait any longer. Oh dear. That's when she killed Doug Swallow. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that had ever happened. That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Up until that day, you two were partners in crime, and she would confer with you. I think she must have noticed. She must have noticed something that you failed to notice, Phoenix. Notice what? My feelings for you. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever was necessary to stop her, even if it meant her life. Or mine. Iris. After spending half a year by your side, my feelings towards you, they changed. I have something to say to you too. Yes? You really are the person I always thought you were. He did actually say during that day that that wasn't the Dahlia, or that wasn't his Dolly, I think is what he said, specifically. Even after Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believed in you. Aww. Damn. Thank you. So that's the end of the trial? Can she be found not guilty? How many cups of darkness have I drank over the years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though. Right now, this one here is the greatest cup I think I've ever had. Don't you think so? Phoenix Wright. Hey! Oh, that's the best. Oh my god. They're drinking a cup together. Yeah, I think you're right. The purpose of this trial was to rule on the murder of the victim, Elise. Or Misty Faye. At some point I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case. I understand, Your Honor. Very well. On the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant. Boo-yah! My god, it's been 6 hours. I mean, I've not recorded 6 hours straight, but the session I did of this earlier took me 2.5 hours to do the investigation, and I'm sitting at nearly 3.5 hours for all of the trials. Court is now adjourned. Adjourned, even. Woo boy! Oh my god, how much more is there? I know it'll be the credits, and I can just watch those. So I guess it's all over. The way everything ended. Was justice really served? The man who risked his life to save Maya is being sent to prison by my own hand. Of course justice was served. Hey, it's Pearl! Mia! I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant. But I couldn't save Mr. Armando, the man who cared so deeply for you. You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible. You mean, with that verdict? I think one day you'll understand too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. You were as good out there today as any defense lawyer could ever hope to be. There's nothing more you can learn from me. Mia, you've accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you. I'm sure we'll meet again. Someday, Phoenix. I've handled lots of cases and seen a lot of things. And along this journey, I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? I suppose today's case produced one possible answer. Hey! Nick. Maya. I guess it's just like my sis said. Your sister? Mia? Oh, that night when I channeled Mia to get her advice on what to do. This is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry, Phoenix will save everyone in the end. But... come on, cut it out with that gloomy face. Can't you see? Me, sis, and I'm sure Iris too. We owe you for everything you have done for us, Nick. How? How can you be so bright and chipper after all that's happened? You were brutally attacked. You even saw your mother murdered. Oh my god, it's Franziska. Franziska! Still a softie as always, Phoenix, right? Edgeworth. Excellent work, right? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth? When did you get back? Oh, that's right. I guess no one filled her in on that. Edgeworth and Franziska have actually been helping me. Helping you? If these two hadn't been here on the first day of the trial, the defense wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Wow. But where were you, Nick? I heard he fell into a river and caught a nasty cold, which forced him to sleep all day. Yes, he laid in bed shivering from his fever with Iris's hood pulled over his head. Oh, ouch. Talk about embarrassing, Nick. You definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth, and you too, Franziska. I don't suppose... Oh, it's Maurice. There's room for me in this group hug, is there? Oh, Larry. What's wrong with the, longer than... Oh no, what's with the longer than usual face? I realised something when I was reborn. I realised that Larry was never of any use to anyone, not even once. That's not true. Right, Nick? What? You're asking me? Well, Nick, is it true? I've got a place in this world, right? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I knew it. Everyone would be better off if I were gone for good. No, no, no. Oh yeah. Those portraits you painted. They were really good. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? What? Me? Why are you making that face, huh, Edgy? Oh, well, yeah, indeed. I certainly can't say that it's a lacking resemblance. You really mean it? What about you, Frenzy? Did I draw you well too? My beauty can't possibly be captured by a mere crayon. Nevertheless, I recognise the effort you put into it, and that's worth something. So then you'll do it, like you promised? You're going to model for my next picture book. Oh my god. Don't get carried away. My god. Well, how about that? I guess painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. The painting of Pearl was pretty darn good too, if you ask me. Huh? Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around. Pearls? Where could she have gone? Normally she would have made a beeline for Maya. Oh, I'll go look for her. Be right back. Okay. Hey, Pearly. I'm confused. Right. You seem to be I'm confused. Trying to read some of these words. Uncharacteristically puzzled. I suspect you are wondering how Maya can be so cheerful despite all that has happened. Yeah. To be honest, I can't understand it either. Franziska. That's right. She lost her father fairly recently as well. Bit different. I think I understand how she feels. Maya is a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realises something. Now is exactly the time when she needs to be as strong as she can. What do you mean by, now is exactly the time? Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded by this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she. I believe it's for that person that Maya is trying her best not to cry. Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya? It's Phoenix. It's definitely Phoenix. I think I'm starting to understand too. And then tell me, Phoenix, right? Oh, wait, no. It's not Phoenix. Pearl. Pearl Faye. Of course. The poor kid, after all. Not after all, the reason she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan. It's for the good of the Fae clan. I'm sure she believed in every last word. She thought she was doing it for Maya. That's why she was so happy. Oh, look at him. It shows how truly devoted she is to Maya. I really like this song. Even though it's got very sad undertones. But it's a cruel irony that it was her exuberance that led to this tragedy. Maya Faye's mother was killed and Maya herself was put into the deepest peril imaginable. And that's exactly why Maya is putting on a brave face. She's doing it for Pearl's sake, until she can see her smile again. Oh hey, so this is where you all are. All were. Oh, looks like we got quite the bunch here today. Oh my god. What was that for, sir? Sorry about that, Scruffy. My whip just seems to have a mind of its own. What's up, Detective Gumshoe? Oh, you know, this and that. Anyway, congrats on your win. Let's go out tonight, pal. Dinner's on me. My salary's just sort of... Wait, my salary's just sort of kind of gone down by a teeny weeny bit. But it's alright. I made reservations at a first-class French restaurant tonight. Oh god. Pretty good work, Scruffy. That whip was your reward. Detective Gumshoe? You said a first-class French restaurant. You don't mean... Très bien. Where else? I knew it. We're doomed. Come on, let's go, everyone. Oh, of course. I was wondering why he went there. Maggie works there. Of course, of course. Can't keep Maggie waiting, pal. Hey, you crybaby, you're invited too. Ba-da-da. Oh, forget about me. Pearl and I will be at the loser's shack eating potatoes. You know, Maya's taking an awfully long time to get back. She's still out looking for pearls. Oh dear. Oh Maya, what's wrong? Nick, what did I do? Or what do I do? Pearly, I can't find her anywhere. Huh? I'll bet she just went back home, that's all. I thought so too, so I called the village. But no one has heard from her. This has never happened before. As I figured, she has been badly hurt by this incident. She feels responsible for the tragedy that has befallen you, Maya. But none of this was her fault. What should I do? We saw her. It was Mia. So where the hell did she go? Detective Gumshoe. Yeah, what is it, pal? Could you guys go on ahead? But what about you? Maya and I we'll join you guys once we find pearls. Nick. Don't worry about us, Detective Gumshoe. We may be a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Yeah, but you're the... Very well, Phoenix Wright. We'll go on ahead. Don't keep us waiting, Wright. We won't. But where should we look? Where could Pearly have gone? Let's go, Maya. There's only one place I can think of that Pearls might have gone to. I have no idea where he means. Oh. Really? Hazakura Temple. Hazakura Temple. Wait, for pearls I bet this is a very important place. After all, it's where this whole incident started. What's this? You're all back again so soon? Sister Bikini. I thought we'd be eating mashed potatoes alone tonight. So she's here? Pearly is here? She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along and go see her? Okay. Pearly's not here. Ah, Maya, the hanging scroll. I was about to say it's been cleaned. Someone cleaned it off. It's got to be Pearls. Ah! Mystic Maya. Pearly, why did you just leave like that? Mystic Maya. Aww. Hey! I swore that I would never trouble the two of you ever again, because it's all my fault that Mystic Maya's mother. That's why you came here? It's the least I could do, to pray for your happiness. You don't have to do that, Pearly. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course I'm sad that my mother is gone, but, how do I say this? I'm still happy. You don't have to lie just to make me feel better. No, really. It's true. The only reason I'm still here at all is thanks to everyone who was there for me. My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you. If even one of you weren't there, I'm sure I wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong. For all the people that were there for me when I needed them. That's all I can really do. Mystic Maya. I'm impressed. You truly are the daughter of the Mystic Misty. Sister Bikini. Your mother, Mystic Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she said to me that night. God, this is still not ending. Jesus. After dishonoring the good name of Karine, I don't have the right to face my daughter. But still, Maya is always in my thoughts. It's true, she'll always be with me until the day I die. Your spirit was with her, that's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets. She'll always be with me until the day I die, huh? There's a rule or something. All the masters are to follow, isn't there? To never take the charm off until the day you die. That's the master's talisman. The thing that Misty kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important, rather, it was the contents. Or contents. That's... a photo? Mother. Why, what is it? It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. But what makes us human is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? That's the true measure of what human life is worth. We defense attorneys are warriors who are constantly challenged by that question. Aww. So they'd already smashed up the pot once, even when the battle is over, and the bonds that connect us are severed. We always return, time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, Mr. Armando, and Maya's mother, too. I learned that from all of them. What a picture. Well, shall we get going? Everyone is waiting. This is a day to remember, a day when a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today. But I still can't... Oh, go on, sweetie. You can come back for training anytime. Okay. Alright. I'm going to make a brand new start too. Sister Bikini, I'll be back for more training, I promise. I know, and I won't go easy on you just because you're the future master. I'll make sure to prepare reservations for 3 when you come back. Alright. We're going to have a great feast today, Pearly. You know why? Because training is a battle of endurance. Okay, Mystic Maya. I'll eat lots and lots of food tonight. You know, there's one thing I don't get. I probably don't want to, but... What is it, Nick? Reservations for training is fine and all, but why for 3? Come on, what do you think? You're one of us. Next time you can train right alongside us. I'll be waiting for you. Sister Bikini will take special care of you. Huh? It'll be great, Nick. We're going to do the special course, naturally. That's a great idea. After all, Mr. Nick. You'd do anything for Mystic Maya, wouldn't you? Oh, not again. Even walk on hot coals, right? We'll have a nice big meal before we come next time, right, Nick? You know, I was wondering if I can say just one little thing. Sure, of course you can. Oh, I love this part. I can't wait to hear it. I'm getting goosebumps too. What does he say? Well then, here goes nothing. Oh, I knew it. I was going to say, is it going to be objection? I didn't actually have to shout it. That's the first time I've not had to say it. I'm glad. Because I didn't like that it was bound to objection. You had to say it. I really have to work extra hard now. Master of Karine and the office manager of Wright & Co. law offices. I have to be a good big sister to Pearly and Nick too. Well, as long as I'm not locked up or captured or something like that. Yeah, it was just an annoyance having to like sit at the end of the game and just be like, objection! Objection! I had to say it like 4 times on the first game, it just didn't work. So it's true, Mr. Nick really is Mystic Maya's knight in shining armour. He went through with the special course all the way to the end. Actually, I heard there's a legendary extra special ultra course here too. I think I'll surprise the 2 of them by making them a secret reservation. That sounds terrible. Oh wait, he's wearing his new coat. Maggie bought me a brand new coat as a present, pal. I feel 10 years younger. I'll never take it off. Yes, but somehow you just don't seem the same. I guess a dirty, shabby old overcoat is just more detective-like, sir. Don't worry about it. In the name of love, a man will soil himself silly. Ugh. That's actually like the coat Gumshoe wears when he starts, or like when you see him in his younger years. Hey! Mr. Wright, I am once again in your debt. Thanks to you, the Treasures of Karine exhibit was a great success. Even got to see Miss Von Karma, who I hadn't seen for almost a year. She taught me how to use a whip, and said that I must show you what I've learned. Oh, great. Normally I don't sit through the credits, but these games are different, because they usually have something interesting all the time. So Desi and I started a company called Master Mass Consulting. We're dedicated to stopping the evil plans of all the criminals in the city. Our motto is, cut it out, please. Pretty cute, huh? Well, we also sell plans to the criminals as a kind of side business. Wonder if that's okay. Sometimes I think maybe we're the worst criminals. No, it's all the different dialogue, and then by the end of it you get to a picture, which is the best. Oh, it's her! Viola. Mr. Wright, I want to thank you for exterminating Don Tigre. I returned the $500,000 along with the tea set, a special thick tea, one I mixed with my own 2 hens. I bet he's drinking it now. Win through compromise. I'm confused. That's creepy. Makoto Fujimi, Takeshi, is that Koik? Old man. I'm just old and in the way. A wrinkly, grumpy, clown-nosed waste of flesh. At least that's what I thought. But my grandkids had a birthday party for me the other day. Talk about embarrassing. 69 years old and I cried like a baby with a dirty diaper. No. God. Something about the Phoenix Wright series, it's just got an incredible cast of characters. And the game itself just has so much character. Wait, I'm surprised. As usual, we have an abundance of work to do. We've hired a new programmer to replace Glenn Elg. I do hope everyone will get along. His name is... Adam Mada. Adam Mada? As soon as I heard his name, I knew our brain circuits would align perfectly. I have no idea if that's a reference. Maybe. My, more reporters. Since the murder, we've made so much money, I hardly know what to do. I think the magazines like us because I provide such a nice visual, especially in spring. I can hardly wait for Iris to come back. Oh god. Her jiggly face. I can't think there's many more scenes to get through. I think we might be through with them all actually, because it's not popping up with any others. What about Iris? Oh, never mind. You've turned into such a respectable man, Feeny. It was so sweet of you and everyone else to come and visit me here the other day. Of course I was happy that you constantly had your eyes on me, but... I felt kind of bad when the little one slapped you so hard you got a nosebleed. Whoop. So it seems that Phoenix still actually harbours feelings for Iris. Or Dahlia. Oh. Ben, Grom and Judd. Just going through all the different... The voices. Oh my god, it's weird seeing him in the defense side. Miles Edgeworth. Xeon King. Oh yeah, and Mia. Forgot. Jeez. And her hair flip, of course. Objection. Well, the only ones we'll have for this are James C. Wilson. Yeah, I was going to say the other one's Francisca. There's also Payne. I'm wondering if he'll show up with his really loud. Oh god, he does. Oh yeah, with his hair. We blew that off. Yeah, by the end of it, he had no hair. Or at least, yeah, there we go. It all disappeared. It looked quite funny. Who the heck? What's this? I'm back from a long and tiring vacation, and no one is here to greet me. I guess while I was gone, my little whippersnapper buddy quit, and now I've got no one. Well, what kind of lonely, crazy security room is this supposed to be, anyway? What with all the flashy lights and switches? I feel like some sort of space alien. Know what I'm gonna do with all these macadamia nuts I brought back to everybody? Oh god, I really can't accept this, I'm afraid, or something painful, fragile if it's... Oh jeez, can't read it. And rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. How are we not done? My god. I'm trying to think of all the characters. I'm almost certain we've gone over all of them. Well, we've got Larry too. Finally found something I love to do. Frenzy's Whiplash Splash is going to turn the art world on its head. I should have realised it sooner. Self-centered, lazy, antisocial. I'm an artist. A really good portrait artist. I'm not a loser after all. Good on you, buddy. Good on you, Loris. Still don't... What a weird name to choose. I'm Loris. There we go. Oh, we got Gumshoe, Phoenix, Maya, Pearl, Edgeworth, and... Francisca. And then, of course, Goddo, Mia, and Misty. Aw, how sweet. Is that it? Is that officially the end? It's been nearly 4 hours. Which means, from just this and the previous session I did earlier today, it's been about 6 hours and 15 minutes, which is 25 parts. So, kind of crazy. Worth it. This game's awesome. I love it. I was actually thinking of whether or not I should take a break after Trials and Tribulations, just do like 1 or 2 small playthroughs in its place, or not in its place, but before I get on to the next or more Ace Attorney games, because there's still a lot I want to cover. I'm not entirely sure about the 3DS games because I'm not entirely sure how they'll play. I need to make sure they can play like well enough for recording all the way through. So that's going to be a bloody pain in the ass, but whatever. But aside from that, I've still got Apollo Justice, or Ace Attorney Apollo Justice. I don't exactly know what the title of it is. And then I've got the 2 Ace Attorney investigation games, which I'll be... that's what I mean. If I'm doing the Ace Attorney investigation games, I'll be doing 1 and 2. And I'll be doing 1 either directly after this, or after the 1 or 2 playthroughs. But I'll figure it out. I'll probably just do the investigation games because I love having Ace Attorney in my life. It's so fun. Although the Ace Attorney investigation games are completely different to how these play, it's very interesting the turn they take. And I know, like, in the order they go, I'm pretty sure Apollo Justice came next, but I just want to do Ace Attorney Investigations, and then Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Either way, that is going to be the end of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this adventure. And until next time, take care.